All right, welcome everybody. Gotta go to videos. Gotta get in the chat room. Make sure we're
live.
live, man.
Oh, you know what?
No.
I am on Wi-Fi, and I shouldn't be.
Oh no, you shouldn't. How you on Wi-Fi? Oh, ugh. No, everything should still be over there. Well, what a good start. It has to be, because I haven't moved it because there's no reason for me to move it. I found a microphone buried in the couch, so there's that. We're a mess over here, man.
Ooh, that smells nice.
What's up, everybody? Man, 2020 sucks.
I saw this thing on Instagram or Facebook, I don't know, but it was like a post. It's from Deuteronomy memes, which is like funny Christian memes.
Okay.
And it was like, scientists discover this cave that's been hidden, like discover 40 new species that's been, lost in this cave for 5 million years or something like that. And a comment underneath was like, 2020 is not the year, bro. Seal that back up.
That is a funny Christian meme.
It was a funny Christian meme.
Yeah.
All right, we should be good now.
All right. So, y'all probably seen our Instagram post and our Twitter post.
Wait, did you do the theme song? Did I miss it?
No, not yet.
Oh.
Not yet. I know at least 4 you have because we've lost followers. We're losing followers. But I wanted to kind of open the show on a serious note because, just like we address the COVID-19 bullshit and all that kind of stuff, we have to address the protests going on right now.
Yes.
It's the socially responsible thing to do. It's also the right thing to do for humanity. You know what I mean? And I don't know what.
Wow.
Terrence looks like he's about to lose his mind.
Oh dear.
There is not a single kid in this room until we start, and then they have to be here the entire time.
Of course.
Yeah, that's what happens, man. Anyway, I know the tiki room is sort of like an escapist, thing, just inherently, and then especially this one. But I feel like we're all lucky to be able to do this right now, and especially when so many people are hurting and protesting and fighting for the rights of others, and I just felt uncomfortable. I would feel weird if we didn't talk about it.
Yeah, I agree.
We don't need to have the whole show about it. That's not what I'm trying to say, but I think we do need to address it. This is my take on it as a white guy who doesn't know anything. I was thinking about it today. Terrence is my only black friend.
Are we being serious right now?
Yeah, we're being serious right now. And it's not because it's not that I don't know any other black people, but I'm not friends with them. And it's for no reason other than I don't know. We, I guess, don't travel in the same circles. And anyway, so that's my sheltered view on Black Lives Matter and what's happening, the protests, all that kind of stuff. But for me, it's weird. This is my take on it. We're talking about police brutality, right? And that's sort of what strikes these protests off. And I just want to remind everybody who's sort of triggered by that is, being anti-police brutality is not being anti-police. I have police in my family. This is a very touchy subject for my family. Like, I'm getting into arguments with my family right now because people think I'm attacking my family members, and I'm not. I'm just simply saying we should not be allowing violence against anybody to happen, period.
Right.
But then when you have a section of the community that's saying, hey, we're feeling more targeted than anybody else, stop it. We have a right as Americans and community members and neighbors and friends and family to address that. And it disappoints me that we haven't really done anything yet. I mean, there's communities maybe that have here and there, but for the most part, it's sort of accepted. And, even so I'm sure you guys have seen that story in Buffalo where the two police hit that 75-year-old man in the leg and he fell
Yeah.
down and cracked
Yeah.
his head. Apparently, like 57 cops resigned
Mm-hmm.
to support the two cops who did that. That
Yeah.
to me is the problem. So if you want to take it to transcend race for a second, we have a problem with police violence in this country, and it makes me extraordinarily uncomfortable to talk about it. But that I think is a good feeling. And yeah. Anyway, it's yeah. I don't know. I had like a whole thing planned, and I don't. I don't know. The whole point of this is like you're supporting the movement. Is you're standing with your community.
Yeah.
And when people say Black Lives Matter, that doesn't mean that no other life matters. That's not what
Right.
not what everybody's saying. When you come
Right.
back and say, well, all lives matter, that sort of is condescending. I think Terrence can obviously speak to it more than I can, but just
Yeah.
on a human level with empathy, you're only saying that because somebody says Black Lives Matter. That
Right.
makes it you're telling that person who is feeling marginalized and attacked that they're incorrect, and that's not
Right.
what we should be. That's not what we should be about.
Yes, I agree.
Good.
I'm trying to see what I can say without us losing more followers. So
that's okay.
screw it.
Yeah. Well, here's
right.
the thing. So, like, earlier today we put on Instagram and Twitter and whatever a post that we worked hard to craft because we didn't really know what to say. It's a weird time, but the more uncomfortable I felt about posting, the more I felt we should do it. Our community deserves it. Our friends and neighbors deserve it. And so we did, and instantly our count dropped. We lost the Patreon supporters. We've lost followers, and I part of me wants to lean into that.
What do you mean by that?
Like, and just embrace it. Wind Terrence up and just let him go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Number one, I completely agree with you. I hate when people say all lives matter immediately after anyone says Black Lives Matter. And when I say Black Lives Matter, I'm not talking about the Black Lives Matter movement, organization, anything. I'm talking about the fact that the lives of Black people matter. And saying all lives matter after someone says Black Lives Matter is also like someone getting upset during Breast Cancer Awareness Month because all cancer matters. Like that's, you know what I mean? Like that's so ridiculous if you think about it. And so so number one, don't do that. Number two, you can live with the tension of being 100% honest about the fact that the murder that happened in Minnesota is wrong, and also that all cops aren't terrible. I have really, really close friends that are cops and family members that are cops, and I don't believe that all cops are terrible, and that something needs to happen for the Black community as a whole of how we're treated by cops, but also understand that something needs to happen overall for all lives, and so everyone is protected, because cops are not supposed to just protect the wealthy. They're supposed to protect every person they come in contact with. It is your duty to serve and protect that person. And so you can live with the tension of agreeing with these ideas that seem as if they cannot be in harmony with each other. But the reality is we're in a really strange point in history where you can't really say anything without offending someone. You can't really say anything without someone feeling as though because you said X, Y, and Z, now you are a bigot, or now you are a bleeding heart liberal, or now. And what I would say is, as a person, as a human being, you should stand up for the rights of people. And the rights of people are the rights of, you know what? So, sorry, I am wound up, so I'm going to keep going.
Oh, do it.
I posted about this the other day, and this was crazy. I was at home. I had on a Disneyland sweatshirt, and I had on a chain, and I was, I'm Terrence. I'm messing around, right?
Right.
And I'm about to go to the store, and Becca's like, you got to take the chain off before you go to the store. I'm like, why? She goes, well, someone's going to see you and not know who you are, and your job is to come home safe. And to hear the words, your job is to come home safe, when you're talking about me leaving the house and going to the store, not me being a police officer and I'm doing a job that has some inherent risk to it. It's I'm going to the store and your job is to come home safe.
With a
It's
chain
weird,
on.
man. It messes with your mind.
With jewelry on.
With jewelry on, it messes with your mind. And so what you should fight against is the stereotyping. What you should fight against is the fact that because of people having this false sense about what every single police officer is, there's police officers that literally are getting shot in the head in their car today because of what's going on here. And all of it is wrong. All of it is wrong. And so I would say, yes, Black Lives Matter. Yes, we know all lives matter, but right now we're focusing on this. This is where we need to put our attention on. So yeah, I'm kind of over this crap, man. I really am. I just want to sing music and be happy. That's all I want to do at this point.
And it's like you and I have had conversation, I think even on the Secret Show a little bit, but even just, talking about the Black experience, your Black experience in America. Which is crazy because knowing you, we all joke about, oh, Terrence is very educated, as an inappropriate joke.
Yes, so well spoken. Yes.
Right. But some of that shit that you've told me about being pulled over and being afraid, even though that you're a non-aggressive, very compliant person, that doesn't necessarily matter. And in times like this, it's sort of highlighted, and it's spooky. It's a spooky time to be around.
So my pastor and I had a conversation about this a couple days ago. He's from Spain originally, and so he didn't come to the States until he was 17 or so. And he's a white guy, but his family lived in Spain, and he's talking to me, and he's like, it's really weird. And he asked me this question. He said, I wonder how much you can relate to this, Terrence, because he's known me since I'm 23, 24, 25, married, career, all this stuff. And I share a story with him. I'm coming home from Berkeley one night. I'm 18 or 19 years old, and I get pulled over. And the first cop is talking to me. The next cop that shows up, they get me out of the car. And then the third cop that shows up, they start going through my car as I'm handcuffed on the sidewalk, watching them go through my car. And I'm asking them, I'm like, what's going on? It's like 1:32 o'clock in the morning. What's going on? And they're like, well, you fit a description. Like a description of what? Well, there was a crime and you fit the description. Like, okay, what's the description? It was a black guy in a blue car. And I'm hearing that and I'm like, a black guy in a blue car? Like, that is the most like generic thing that you could say. And so I get home and my parents are livid when I walk in the house because I'm late. And I explain to them what's going on, and my dad just starts crying. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. It's 2:30. I want to go to bed. I don't care at this point. And I talked to him the next day, and my dad grew up in Birmingham, Alabama in the 40s and the 50s. I was looking at it, and my mom grew up in Topeka, Kansas. They grew up in segregation. I forgot her name. The lady who was the first black girl to go to school. She turned 65. My parents are older than her. So
okay, wow.
Right, that's how they grew up. And so my dad was saying, I thought because of everything I went through that it would be better for you. Now you fast forward to a couple of weeks ago, and you're watching everything that goes on, and then you see the murder happen, and Jackson, my 9-year-old, asking me about what happened and all of this. And I hear myself say the same words. I said, I thought because of what I went through, things would be better for you. And that's kind of the experience where things get marginally better. I'm not getting sprayed down with a hose. I'm not getting chased by dogs. But there's a lot of times where you feel like a unicorn. You feel like you're just completely out of place. You feel as though you are being you're being judged, you're being treated differently. And I look at everything that I've worked for in my life and the position that we're in financially, where we live, all of this stuff. And it sounds really weird because when I look at that, I'm like, I feel like a lot of people strive for that. They strive, when I get to this point, when I have this, when I get to this point, then I'll be accepted. And it never happens. And it's sad. It's really sad. So I'm sorry, I can't go on anymore because I'm gonna. It's just too hard to talk about.
Well, yeah, it's.
Well, I'm glad you did. I mean, I know it's hard, but I think that people need to hear what you said. like I saw your Facebook post that you were talking about with the chain, and I even brought it up in a conversation with somebody else because it struck me. It felt very important. But then even knowing that and seeing that post, you describing it now made me tear up. Like it's a big deal,
Mhm.
it's
Well, and imagine what that does for your confidence. I mean, I can imagine, your self-esteem, your ability to be comfortable in social situations.
Well,
And then
and that's the thing
and
for
I would think that that's perpetuated then for years. And then you're
well,
talking to other people, and
yeah.
then you tell them the story, and
Mhm.
so then it sort of grows this communal fear.
Well, and that's the weird thing. It's like for me, like I'm I'm from Compton, but we moved to the suburbs of San Francisco when I was 3. And so I don't have that as a context of growing up. But my sister, who's 10 years older than me, was 13 when she left Compton. And so she and I experienced things in completely different ways, even at this point. And it's so strange because I I feel I feel and you guys don't I try to be as happy-go-lucky about this as possible, about the Black experience in America, but you just feel out of place in so many ways. You feel like you have to um, you have to act and speak a certain way when you're with this group, and you have to act and speak a certain way when you're with a different group. And the way that I act and speak and dress when I'm around my cousins is not the way that I act and speak and dress when I'm around you guys. And it's just a weird thing of like you're always playing a game of trying to fit in and be as non intimidating as possible in any situation. And it's weird. And I'm a really nice guy. I bet all 3 of you guys could beat me up. But for a lot of people, that's not what they see.
Yeah.
That's not what they see. And it's sad. And I've for a long time I told myself, Terrence, you're just imagining stuff. And the more I live and the more I experience, I realize that I'm not.
I think that's a defense mechanism, and
It
it
is.
makes sense. I bet there's a lot of people that are doing that same thing. Um,
Yeah.
and to be quite honest, I think the joke up until a couple weeks ago or however long it's been, um, I think the joke was that 2020 is just the worst year on the face of the planet, and then
Mhm.
it got worse. but
Yeah, I know.
but I don't know. I'm starting to think of it as like it was a horrible thing that happened, but look at what conversations are happening now. And maybe
Mhm.
2020 is actually a year of change. Maybe your kids are going to feel different. Maybe
Yeah.
what's happening now is going to help your kids.
And the frustrating
Yeah.
part is why it takes this. I mean, you look at the Irish experience in the late 1800s
Mhm.
or whatever. You look at well, even the Asian experience for to a certain extent, but the Italian experience, in the 20s, like
Yeah.
they were it was on par with black people, on par.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like they were. I read a post about it today. Someone said the Irish weren't white until they were. Why is it? Why haven't we come that far? There's a need for social change, and I'm hoping that through these conversations we can sort of separate the wheat from the chaff and clear this stuff up. I mean, the mayor of L.A. already announced $150 million budget cut to the police department to
Yeah.
infuse into communities. In my opinion, that's what I think we need. It's not it, and again, this is the white perspective. I'd like to think I'm open to other situations, but I don't have all the information, so forgive me. But that's I think what we need. Also, it's not just about in police brutality and then that's it. Oh, okay. Well, then everything's fine. There is a community that there's involvement at the community level that everybody needs to get involved in that will help you know, that will help all of this, right? That will
I
help
agree.
people feel better, the community outreach, all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
Well, and
Well, at
to
some
that's
to
point,
that,
go ahead, Taryn. Go ahead, Taryn.
Oh, I was just gonna say that's Jason and I were talking about it a little bit before before we went live, and it's this situation is about police brutality, Well, no, the situation started because of police brutality.
Right.
This protesting, but it's not about that.
Right.
It's about a
Right.
lot more than that. And that's the problem. Is I think the problem that I see, or the people that I'm unfriending,
Yeah.
are
Right.
people who don't get that, who are just arguing. Well, do you know what happened to cops today? I don't. It's not that I don't care what happens to cops. I love cops. I appreciate cops. I feel safe with cops. But a lot of people don't, and that's the problem. But that problem is because of something bigger, and that's the issue.
So I'd like to say something else.
Go ahead.
Stop looting, please. Just stop looting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, man.
you know what, man, I'm unfriending people that I know and like did as past tense. And it's hard because I understand that people are saying what's happening with the looting and the rioting is not really doing anything to benefit what the actual cause is. And I agree, you have to dig a little bit and find out why this civil unrest is happening at this point. And I'm all for the protests that are going on during the day. But stop looting and stop, that never, literally, it not only does it not help anything, it waters down the entire message.
From
But please stop looting.
Absolutely. And
Unless,
sorry, don't
no,
want to.
go,
ahead,
Bev.
I was just gonna say, we were driving through Pinole, and so we've been away for the last week. We just got back from Fort Bragg, where we were completely secluded and had no real access to anything that was going on. We come back and all these buildings are boarded up, and Abby's in the car and she's like, what's going on? And so then just trying to wrap my own brain, my own white, very naive brain around
white
that
cloth soaked
conversation.
brain. Yeah.
I don't think I can even really talk about it.
Damn.
Yeah.
I love you.
I
Bev.
get it, Beth. I get it.
I love you.
And it's hard because what do you say? Because the thing is, that's the problem. The rub here is that something really, really horrible happened. And there's a subset of people that have been extremely affected by it. And then you see everything else that's happening on it when people are just taking advantage of the situation. And it's horrible. And you can say, to Abby, and I know I know you're her mom, and she's probably getting the opposite information from Sam. But you know what? People should be treated fairly. And that's really what it comes down to.
Exactly. That wasn't even the hardest part of the conversation. It was me just trying to explain the difference between the races and what's going on, but also just trying to get the point across that. So I'm a Christian. I will say that. And my job is to just treat everybody the way that Jesus would treat them. And I don't understand why that's such a hard concept. Just treat people kindly. And trying to teach that,
yeah,
and not be this is really difficult. And again, I'm very naive, and I just don't understand why it's taking us 80 years we take 3 steps forward and 8 steps backwards.
It's a complex situation, and even at the beginning of this, like day 1 or 2, when the looting started, that's all a lot of people could focus on. And
mm-hmm.
that's not the point. I mean,
Not at all.
you're saying, oh well, like the people who think looting is the problem and the focus and the point of this are the same people who say, oh well, so because one bad cop did something, all cops are bad. That's not. First of all,
that's not it at all.
Nobody is ever saying that. There are people who say, fuck 12s, right? Like cops are let's get rid of 12.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get rid of cops, right? That's a very small majority of the people, and it's more out of anger than like a rational thing. Okay,
right?
We need the police. That's just how society is right now. That's just what
mm-hmm.
it is.
Mm-hmm.
But there can be real reform for the actions that police take, and that's what I think would definitely help. It's not going to fix everything, but it's going to help a lot if we have more community outreach. So, Taryn and I specifically. We found 2 organizations that we're going to donate money to. One is called joincampaignzero.org, and what I like about them is they have an action plan. They have 10 points, you know. And I was talking to our mutual friend, probably won't name his name, but he's like, you know, I don't understand. Everyone's chanting Black Lives Matter, but nobody's giving real responses. I'm like, well, no, they are. You're just not hearing it. You're not looking for it.
Right.
Like you can't go marching going Black Lives Matter. We want police reform, and these are the 5 ways that we can do it. Bullet point 1: stop. You know, like you can't do that.
Yeah.
So I was like, look, man, if you want to, if you're interested, you have to look for that stuff. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
to some people, to a lot of people, a plan matters. And so these are the people who they have a very good plan. Anyway, check them out. JoinCampaignZero.org, and that's a national campaign. And then we're donating also to Black Organizing Project out of Oakland, and they are community-based education outreach programs, which sort of speaks to our I don't know, I say vibe, which I can't think of another word 'cause I'm stupid. But I feel like we need a lot of outreach, community work, uplifting, and more opportunities for people who historically, maybe not them personally, but their families definitely have been marginalized and squashed down and looked at as lesser people. I mean, and I'm not trying to go on like all white people are bad. I don't know if you guys knew that or not.
But that's not true.
I know, and I'm not trying to do that. But there are people who think like whenever you hear this, what I'm about to say, that's what people automatically think because they feel targeted because they're white. I felt that way. I used to feel that way. I used to be an All Lives Matter guy. Like I don't understand, not an All Lives Matter guy, but I don't understand why don't all lives matter? And then the more you read about it and learn about it, and I was taught. That's why I bring up some of this stuff to you, Terrence. I mean, this is a while ago, so you know, whatever. You sort of realize that the rage you hear on the street is not the point. It's a reaction. The point is what they're trying to achieve, and they're different, and it's so complicated. You cannot put one point. You cannot go. That's exactly what it is. But you look at, you know, I was reading again. I'm still trying to learn. So I'm following this person on Twitter. If I can find her handle, I will, because she's really great actually. But she was posting a bunch of links on specifically the Second Amendment and how it was based not because you know we were worried about the British coming back. Ida Bay Wells. Ida Bay Wells. Is her on Instagram. Anyway, but she's like, it was specifically, and they talked about this in the Federalist Papers leading up to the Declaration of Independence, that it was for the slaves in case they rioted, in case they got armed and uprose. So we decided to put in the Constitution that, there you go, here is a reason why we should be armed, to have a well-organized militia. It's not because they thought someone was going to come at them or that it was a right. It was a lot of it was how to quell an shit like that. So then it takes all these Second Amendment idiots, these open carry dumbasses. It puts a whole new spin on it, which is anyway. It's all that stuff. There's never a limit to how much you can learn. So we put a bunch of stuff on our Instagram. If you want to read it, that would be great. But at the bare minimum, talk to somebody who's marginalized in your community. Like I said, I don't have a lot of them. I have a couple of Asian friends, a couple of Hispanic friends, and one black friend. And I think that sucks.
Yeah.
I think it sucks.
Well, I think I'm probably the only black guy that'll put up with you. So
that's
probably true.
Well, especially some of the things I ask you.
Our next meeting, I'll talk to people about you and see if they want to join the group. So.
You know what? Honestly, please do. I would love that black card. I would love it so much.
No, but honestly, I would say, because I had a conversation with someone about this, and you're right. Have a conversation with someone about what their experience is, which also entails asking questions and being transparent enough to actually ask questions. And then also number two, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, as I know I make jokes about you guys a lot, and I make jokes about Sam a lot. You guys are some of the best people I've ever met. And your kids, shut up, Becca. And your kids will not have to ask what it means to love people just because you're showing them how to do that.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
Well, thank you. I I feel like we're winding down, and that's
Yeah,
totally
I feel
fine.
like we're winding down
But
too.
I do
Yeah.
want to just say something that I don't think has been brought up yet, and that is that these protests, I think people who aren't 100% for them, even 90% for them, I think are getting the wrong idea. And it popped in my head when you were talking earlier, where the protests, yes, when people are protesting and yelling Black Lives Matter, okay, well, who hears that, right? Nobody hears that. But what the protests are doing are getting the politicians who actually will end up having a voice to make these changes.
Yep.
It makes people listen to them. It's not that a protest in Oakland is going to, like, the protest itself is going to make change. It's making everyone have to talk about it. And when they
Yeah.
have to talk about it, then they want to vote. And then they want to vote for people who are going to make these changes that the protesters are protesting about. And that's what it is. It
It's a
has to
reaction.
start somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's what kind of gets lost sometimes in the general media, where it's like, oh, they're protesting. Okay, well, what does protesting do? I used to feel that way too.
Oh yeah.
This situation right now feels very different, where it's like my sister, she knows that we are very much in quarantine still, and
Mhm.
and we're still not going to grocery stores, and she texted me this book about how we're gonna her husband and her, we're gonna go protest, and she knows that this means that it's going to be even longer till they see us in person, and she's really sorry, and she understands our boundaries on that, but she just really feels it's important to do this. And she wrote this whole thing, and I wrote her back, and I'm like, that's fucking great.
Yeah.
Please go do it. If I can't see you for 6 months, go do this. This is important. I love that you're going and doing that.
Yeah.
And that's the protesting gets a bad rap, and I think that's what I'm trying to get at, is it gets a bad rap, and it's not bad. It's not that it's not doing anything. I think
From the looting and the violence.
Yeah.
Which is
That's the problem.
But that's
Very
not
much-
protesting.
right.
That's not protesting.
Right.
That's looting and
That's
rioting.
looting and being violent.
which
Yes.
is
Yeah.
very much organized by like white militia guys, and that's the
Yeah,
president.
most of the pictures you're going to find of people rioting and looting,
Bro,
they're
the
not black.
people who burnt
The off-duty cops that were doing stuff too. Yeah.
the people who burnt
What?
down the Nashville courthouse, everyone
Yep.
arrested with that, white.
Yep.
And it's not a black versus white thing. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I am trying to say, don't judge the protesters by the acts of violence, because they are very different. Sure, that bleeds over, because we're human beings and we're fucked up naturally, right? And that's to Bev's point. It's like, why can't it just be simple where everyone's nice to each other? Because we're selfish.
Well, everybody's a human.
Yeah, but
Why can't
for
everybody just be treated like a human?
I don't know, because we're animals at the same time. We just, you know what I mean? We're
Yeah.
nuts, and so we're doing this anyway. Anyway, that's why I'm proud to be donating 100% of Terrence's salary to these movements, and I feel like
Stop it.
I'm 100% okay with that.
No, but I'll yeah. Anyway, Tara and I are donating. I encourage you guys to donate too, and there are so many causes out there that you can donate to for social justice. It does not have to be Black Lives Matter. It can be at the community level, which I encourage a lot more, for anything, any reason you want to donate for anything, cancer support, whatever. Community funds, I think, go a longer way than stuff on the national level. And there's tons of stuff. If you want it to be more inclusive than that, then you can do that. If you want to be very specific, you can do that too. But help people who are asking for help. This is the time. This is the absolute time. I mean, this is how apartheid in South Africa ended, is riots in the street. Like, this is where we're at. Let's make a change. Let's
Yeah.
make a change. Let's be nice to each other, everybody, and understand each other. It comes from a point of understanding.
Yeah, absolutely. And
don't know.
just
I'm
do
done
your
with that.
research about like these local charities. Do your research, make sure they've been around for a while, or even not. I guess they doesn't need to be around for a while. What are the caveats, right? I do think that there's potential for, a lot of people are donated to charities right now, and there's potential
Yep.
for scamming. And so just do research.
Yeah,
Just
and
make
you know
sure
what? You know what sucks, man. Here's. Let's just bring it back to me, because I'm too much of a narcissist to keep talking about this. I feel super weird, uncomfortable about it, because I'm trying to be more on Twitter than I am on Facebook, because Facebook, they're, I don't know, whatever. That's another Quarantiki room, I suppose. But there's so many extremes with this where, people go, oh well, white people shouldn't be talking about this. They should let black people drive the narrative. And so I go, oh, maybe because I am also sort of like a parrot, where if you tell me a thing, I'll be like, oh, maybe that is true, and then someone else will tell me something else. I'll be, oh, well, maybe that is true too. And now I don't know what to believe, which is why anytime Taryn goes, hey, what's for dinner? I go, I don't know.
I believe it's hamburgers.
Well, then hamburgers it is, man. But, and then other people say, now is the time to speak up. So I go, oh, okay. So then I'm trying to feel my way through this because, again, I live in my head 24/7, so I need to be okay with my actions and my words. And then I was reading something today on Instagram. This artist that I follow, made a drawing, and it was a hand holding like an olive branch. It's a cool drawing, but he's like, I don't know what to say. The only thing that kept coming to my mind was this picture, so I drew it. I'm donating 100% of these T-shirts to Black Lives Matter, and I hope in some way that helps. And someone drug his ass for doing that. They're like, we don't need a olive branch. We need to, and people went back at her, and it was this whole thing. I'm like, I don't know. It's hard for me to know what the right thing to do is. But if you're in a situation like that, like you are, or like that I am, and if you're uncomfortable, it's probably good. Like, I'm very uncomfortable about this conversation. I'm uncomfortable. I'm trying to be protective of my brand, of the followers that we have, because we worked very hard on this show to amass the amount of people that we have, amass the amount of listeners that we have. But that doesn't mean anything if other people are suffering and we care more about capitalism than doing what's right, even in a very small way. So live in that uncomfortableness and feel free to express yourself. Being on social media is hard because you want to build your follower count, and that means people like you, but it doesn't really matter if you don't like yourself.
Yep.
I don't know, Terrence.
I agree, man. No, you're absolutely right.
Got anything else? I'm done talking about it. It's actually, we talked about it way longer than I even expected to, but I think it's important, and I apologize if people I don't know.
You know what? I would end it with this. We've had a rule since our kids were little kids, and they know it, and it's rule number 1. And this is the rule that we should live by. Rule number 1: don't be a douchebag.
Don't be a douchebag.
That's right. Don't be
legit the rule number 1 in our house, and it covers a multitude of sin, if you will. So literally, just be nice to people. Yeah. Just be kind to people. Treat people the way that you would want to be treated. Remember that every person that you come in contact with, they have a history, they have a story, they have a family, and they deserve the same amount of respect that you would want. So just respect people.
That's something I've sort of like solidified finally over the last few years. It's like, you don't know, and I've heard it through my whole life, but it really sort of solidified now that I have so many mental problems and health problems. Not health problems. I feel like I'm an old man, but just shit, right? Where you don't know what that person's going through that day.
Exactly.
You don't know. And the only bright point in their day may be the time when you said, oh, hey, let me hold the door open for you.
Mm-hmm.
Or thank you, or whatever, right? Or gave them a bigger tip. Like, that could be the only moment in that person's day, which is sad.
Yeah.
We're human beings. We have a long and a short life at the same time. Why not use it for good?
Yeah.
Make yourself happy. Make other people happy.
I agree. I completely agree with you.
Yeah. And we can also end it with, tear gas is not allowed in war, but it is allowed for protests. Just so you guys know one of the things that people are talking about.
That's funny.
Okay, I'm going to get a beer and we're going to start the show. I have an intro. We have an intro. So I purposefully didn't want to play our intro and then talk about this. I wanted to talk about this right now, get the seriousnesses out of the way, play the intro. We got some news just to kind of make it, lighthearted. And, like I said, I could talk about this all day because I think it is important, but Terrence brought up a good point. He's like, we got to have some fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get a beer and we're going to do that.
Cool.
So take a break. I'll be right back.
Terrence, I honestly really appreciate your vulnerability during this whole conversation. Bev too, actually. I think it's a really emotional topic. I'm good. And I really appreciate everybody just
Sorry,
being
I'm
honest.
reading the chat.
Oh.
We haven't started the show.
Yeah, no, not yet. I think it's important, and so I'm just really glad we had this conversation. I think there was a danger to having this conversation, like Jason was saying, but I just to the brand or whatever. But what's 4 followers? Bye. Sorry, that's how I feel.
Deuces.
Yeah, but
If you want to live with your head in the sand and break the number 1 rule,
right,
you don't get to follow us.
exactly.
Yeah.
See ya.
So
You can't. You literally can't sit with us.
Yeah.
I think what else I'm going to do. Usually, I the next day I put these videos on unlisted, and then I send the link to the Patreon link. But I think I'm going to leave this one up.
I think
Okay.
so.
I think it's important.
Good.
So everyone can see Bev cry.
Thanks, because I'm such a pretty crier.
Well, I started crying too. I was
Having
you
an
guys,
El
both,
Sully
you guys
boys.
both made me cry.
Got a boy.
El Sully from the 2NA
Very
man.
good.
Okay, here. Let's are we anything else?
No, I'm going to say it one more time. I really do appreciate you guys.
I appreciate
really
you too, man.
Thank you guys for not being jerks.
And you know what? I want to thank everybody in our chat right now because
Yeah,
they were been very, very supportive.
Yeah.
And you know, that's the kind of thing I expected, and it just always throws me. I was telling Taryn, like, I get so caught up in people's opinions of me, which is why I've never really been able to do anything like performative, I guess, except just a podcast. That no matter how good I think something is, I'm always waiting for that one person to tell me it sucks. And then that's what I base my entire thought process around. Because that's how I was written. My dad would always like, well, what is everybody going to think about you if you don't tuck your shirt into your shorts, 6-year-old boy, that kind of shit. And I just can't get over it.
Yeah.
And so it's like my stomach has been in knots. I haven't shit in 2 days.
He was pacing, I think, since like 2:00 today.
And that's not to say that I'm like my struggle is important or whatever, but it's like that's I don't know. That's why I'm weird about it.
It gets in your head.
It really does. All right, you ready for the new intro to the Quarantiki room?
Yes.
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 Let's go. It's pretty soothing. I'm gonna be honest.
I like it.
I like that part. Wow.
What?
What was that last
That was
part?
me. That was me. 100%. Just fucking around. But
Well,
here, let me get the
that was
information
something.
for the guy who.
Was that a baby cry? What was that?
It was something.
It was a bird.
Yeah. So that I already have. I thought I had it up. I don't have it up. Anyway, that was custom made for us by a friend of Eric Johnson,
Oh.
as a matter of
Nice.
fact. And his website, you can go to his website. He's a composer. It's trimpe.org. J.R. Trimpe? TRIM as in Mary, PE.org.
Trimpe.
Trimpe, yeah, there you go. But anyway, he made that for us, and
That's awesome.
I think he did the intro for the new Cash Grab episode that I'll release tomorrow, and all sorts of stuff. So
Nice.
I'm pretty excited about that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was.
Oh,
pretty
I'm
good.
still here. I can still hear you guys. I just have to make back another drink.
Ah, yes. Very important.
Okay. Bev, how's Fort Bragg, bro?
Yeah. What was that like?
It was fantastic.
Because you went up there with $350 worth of booze.
I did.
Jason
My
showed me
Czech
your-
liver light is on, so I'm drinking water tonight.
Oh, man. What are
Dude, I drank so much.
You're pulling a Jeremy right now.
Yeah, but I don't think you understand. It was 6 days of just living my best life. We had 5 private acres that backed up to the beach, so we had private beach access.
What?
Wow, dude.
It was
It
wonderful.
was chef kiss.
And like this much internet, so like I could get like phone calls and like or check like Instagram or whatever in one spot in the house, and I was in that one spot so infrequently that I was so just detached.
Wow.
Good. Yeah, man.
Was
It was
like,
really nice.
Was it like a beach, like where you swim in the water, or just like where you hang out at the beach?
Oh
or?
no, you don't go in the water at
Oh,
Fort
okay.
Bragg.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've
It's
never
real
been there.
cold.
Yeah. I mean, it's like 3
we
hours
saw
north
whales and seals and
Oh,
of
cool.
Shelter
sorts of
Cove.
cool things.
Oh, okay.
For-
It's
for-
north.
Fort Bragg is where North Coast Brewing is, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So to get from Shelter Cove to North Coast, it's a 3-hour drive. Of course, a lot of it's windy.
It must be inland
A
because
little bit.
Shelter Cove. I mean, you drive 3 hours north, you're in Oregon. Okay.
I don't know. But
Interesting.
that's the only reason
It's-
we've never been to North Coast Brewing is because it takes 3 hours to get there.
Got it.
Because
Yeah,
like I
Fort
said,
Bragg
you
is
go
3 hours from my house. Door to door, it was 3 hours exactly.
Yeah, but that makes sense because to get to Shelter Cove. So Shelter Cove is where Taryn's aunt and uncle have a beach house, right? Because
Yeah.
you have to go inland so far. You have to go an inland hour, but it's all those windy roads, and it's but she can, I think, take the 5 for most of it, and then you cut over, right?
I did 116, like 37, 116
Okay.
to 101, and then I think to 1.
It sounds all the same.
Well, we'll look it up anyway. Well, that's cool, man. I'm glad you guys had a relaxing moment in this.
It was really nice.
Good.
That's good.
Everyone needs to get away a little
But
bit.
also check liver light.
Like real,
She's
real question.
flashing.
Like, what does
Yeah.
Abby do when you're drunk? Because I need to figure this out before Alice
You're
gets
drunk. What does Abby do?
Oh, I didn't
Mostly cries
probably,
in the
like-
corner. Yeah.
drink. I probably didn't drink
till she went to bed.
to excess until she went to bed and I got in the hot tub.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so that's the move.
Yeah.
Yes.
Plus, that hot tub will amplify that shit too.
Yeah. Sometimes I don't like that because you get out and you're like, oh fuck, I'm real drunk.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, so I bought that cookbook. No, I bought that
Liver destruction
cocktail book that Jeremy was talking about that has a bunch of drinks from Downton Abbey.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love it. That's awesome.
And then I spent $350 at the not Bevmo, the other one,
Beer more.
Total
No,
Wine.
Total Wine.
Total Wine. So I would drink like we would make like 2 or 3 cocktails, hang out over some time, and then we get in the hot tub and drink 6 White Claws.
Jesus.
geez.
That was every night. And then the next morning I would wake up dying of thirst and shaking a little. So it was cool.
Oh God.
Man, that was my 20s.
Ugh.
I literally tried to live my 20s at 35, 6.
You ever
How old am I?
you ever go to work drunk? Like wake up and you're
Yeah.
still drunk. You're like, fuck, I got to go to work.
My first job out
When
of
I was
college-
very young.
Yeah.
Not since I've gotten old.
Well,
My-
right.
My first job out of college, my first like desk job, I would go to the bar. I was living at my parents' house, so I would go to the bar at night, stay there till bar closed, and then go home. And so I wasn't super drunk because I would drive home, and I was very cautious of that. But I would drive home at 2 a.m. and then go to bed and be at work at 8 o'clock in the morning. And
Oh, yeah.
I would stop.
Yet
at Starbucks.
somehow still function. Like if you tried that crap now, you would die.
Totally.
Well, and I think now we're like more aware of that toll, and so I think some of it's psychological. Because we're
Yeah.
not that different people. We're not that much older, but it's like, oh man, I'm really tired. But the older you get, the sort of more you can revel in sleeping. And you're like,
I don't know. Like
"Oh."
I don't think that's true because when
Yeah.
I was young, hangovers didn't last 3 days like they do now.
Yeah, like I've had one drink too many on the Secret Show, and I have to go to work at 9 o'clock, and I feel like I'm gonna puke all day. Like I cannot function. I feel like it is different,
Hmm.
and my stomach is different because in those days when I would do that, stay up till 2, and then go to work at 8, I would also stop at Starbucks and get a giant size black coffee with 2 shots of espresso poured in it. Like my stomach could not handle that shit right now, ever.
My stomach couldn't handle that with no alcohol.
I know. I would do this daily. Like, I mean, I was going to this bar every day. Like, it's not good.
So let me tell you a story about how nervous I've been. I think this is part of it. I woke up the other night, choking. I couldn't breathe, and for like, I think it was like 10 seconds. Taryn says it was 4 hours, but
No, it was like 30 seconds.
I had something in my throat, and I was just yeah, Bev, shut up. Sam was here. He was standing over me, and I'm like, "What did you put in my throat?" And he's like, "No, nothing."
Yes, please continue.
But I was doing this because I
No,
couldn't.
it was
I couldn't
worse
breathe.
than that. Even.
Okay, but I can't replicate it
No,
right
I know.
now.
I
yeah,
just
yeah,
want
yeah.
them to know that it was worse than like
Okay.
I actually
Taryn,
thought,
put it back in his throat so we can hear what he sounded like.
I legit thought that he was dying.
I
in
felt
front
like
of
I
me.
was dying, and and so eventually it cleared up. My throat opened, and my throat hurt, like my voice
what you gotta
box
do.
hurt, like I could. I think it was apparently like GERD, or it was like you know.
Like reflux.
Yeah, but it apparently it can get so bad it can go up into your throat and then come
Mhm.
like into your like lungs and your esophagus and shit like that. So, I was like coughing and hacking and I don't know, man. It was
Well-
the fucking most. It was very very scary and it sort of like set off a bunch of anxiety I have about dying over the last like day, and I'm all backed up now. I don't know, man. I'm a mess right now.
Well, and not to make it all about me, but it was very scary for me too because
Taryn's been trying to make it all about her since it's happened.
yeah, because if his anxieties are him dying, my anxieties are the people around me dying. So
But him dying's cool.
Yeah.
So he woke up, like shot out of bed, grabbed my arm, and can't breathe. And so I
That's
jump.
not what happened.
That's literally what happened.
No.
What do you think happened?
You came over the bed screaming at me, and then you grabbed my arm.
No.
Yeah.
You woke me up by doing
No, I
this.
didn't.
Yes, you.
I promise you I didn't. I promise you I didn't.
You couldn't even breathe. You don't even know what
I
happened.
promise you I rolled over and I put my feet on the floor because I knew what was happening. I needed to try to like calm. Are you trying to tell me that I didn't know what was happening?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Weird. That's cool. No, never mind. I'm not going to say it. Anyway.
You were beating your chest.
I was not.
Oh my god.
I'm
That's why-
inclined to believe Taryn.
I thought you were possibly having because I don't know what's going on. You may have known that you had acid reflux. I thought you were having a heart attack because you were like pounding and then you like took my hand and I was like, okay, so I don't know what to do now, and then it stopped.
Okay. The vision I have of you jumping up and walking over the bed, screaming my name, I just made that up.
No, that did happen.
But I thought I grabbed your arm at
you
first.
did.
Oh, that's so weird.
You did.
I just
and
think that stick it in his throat again. Let's replicate it. Let's see how he responds.
Okay,
and
we'll
we
do
go
that
from
on the
there.
Patreon page only specifically. I don't know.
whatever.
Anyway. It was weird, man. And so, learning about GERD and acid reflux and shit, like, it sort of speaks to the getting older thing. It's like, what the fuck? What the fuck is that? Your stomach produces too much acid and it kicks it. Like, what the fuck? Who wants to? At this point, I'm 42 and I'm already choking on my own bile. What am I gonna be when I'm 52?
You won't.
Gross.
Yeah.
Don't call it your own bile. That's terrible.
It makes me. I don't know, man. I might as well just take my feet off and put wheels on so my ankles stop hurting. Like, it's just gonna be this whole thing. Now I know why people want to be bionic.
You did. Okay.
Yeah.
This is something.
Weirdest conversation.
Yeah. Well, whatever.
I have a story.
Yep.
Ordered groceries today, and when you order the groceries, you kind of
Excuse me.
sometimes you'll end up texting with the people, like, "Oh, they didn't have your peppers. Do you want these?" And so I was texting with the guy, I guess, and he
Oh, texting with a guy.
I
Huh?
was texting with the guy.
Nice.
It gets better.
He sounds hideous.
I haven't told you this story yet.
Wow, you're hiding it from me too.
No, I was waiting to tell you
Yeah.
now.
All right.
'Cause I thought it would be.
Maybe
better
that's why
this
she's
way.
sticking things in your throat when you're sleeping. Go on.
So the guy's done. He's like, "Okay, I'm done.
Oh,
Do
he's
you
done, huh?
do you need anything else?"
Oh, wow. He's a full service guy.
He
Yeah.
really was. I was like,
Nice.
"Oh," I was like, "Actually, now that you mention it,
Oh.
getting toilet paper on the website was not an option because they don't want to disappoint, I guess."
And I have to shit.
And
so
so
please.
I was like, "Hey, man, if they have toilet paper, I'd take a pack." And so he's like, "Oh, let me check." And then he's like, "Do you want the Charmin big pack, little pack, or Cottonelle?" And I was like, I started typing something out. And I'm like, let's just make this easy. Charmin big pack. And he goes, I should just read it directly. He said, "Big package coming at you." I was like,
wow.
he has to mean that. in the way that I'm hearing it. But
That's amazing.
I'm just gonna pretend like he didn't, because obviously
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go there. But also, like, I looked at his picture, he's like a younger kid, and I'm like, yeah, he totally meant that.
Of course.
That's
Of course.
amazing.
That is pretty funny.
Well played,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah.
Oh no, yeah.
'Cause it's definitely
big package incoming is
there
what
you
he
go.
said. It's like, jeez,
Well, he
dude.
probably thought he was on Tinder.
probably he got the wrong chat box.
Yeah. I mean, that's something you can definitely do. And then if someone complains, you go, I didn't. I mean, come on, it's a big thing.
Yeah. But I thought that was pretty funny. I did get the toilet paper, so there's that.
That's true. That's true. You want to do a little news?
Yes.
Let's do it.
I haven't read any of this. I just clicked on
Perfect.
links.
Good.
Cool.
Disneyland opening next week. All right.
Breaking news. Not really.
Oh, geez. I'm reading this right now. I just want to make sure. Okay. So there's a dude, Cole Carini of Richlands, Virginia. This is on June 2nd. He showed up at the Clinch Valley Medical Center with a missing hand. Several fingers on his other hand were also gone. And he had shrapnel wounds to the neck and throat. A local sheriff's deputy arrived to interview him, who claimed his gruesome injuries were the result of a gardening accident.
Oh no. That's why you don't garden.
That's a fucking gardening accident.
Yeah, well, apparently,
Is it like a wood chipper?
Seriously.
he had been previously convicted on explosives charges, so the police got a search warrant for his home, called the FBI. When the investigators got to the residence, they found a trail of blood leading from a red minivan parked in the driveway to the front door of the house and up the stairs to a second-floor bedroom. Anyway, he was making bombs. He had a footlocker with
Good at it.
a box filled with rusty nails and a plastic container. Anyway, all this kind of stuff. So what he wanted to do is apparently go to the mall and blow up, quote, hot cheerleaders.
What?
What the crap?
I'm glad he lost his hand.
Seriously, he doesn't deserve a
Same.
hand.
And really the reason I read it is because he went to the hospital to say it's a gardening
I
accident.
know. Please.
With shrapnel. Like,
Right.
come on, bro.
No hand missing, fingers on the other one gone.
And clearly, if it's a bomb, there's probably burns.
Right. Idiot.
As if the cops aren't going to investigate his house, right?
Jesus.
I don't know.
Oy, oy, oy.
Oh
There.
my gosh.
Oh, the person.
What state was this again?
I think
Flor-
Virginia.
Let's just call it Florida.
I think it was Virginia.
Southern Virginia.
Apparently, more people are drinking during quarantine. You guys.
Weird.
Yeah.
I feel
What?
like I can attest to that.
Yeah, this is a research
My
by
credit card
the Opinium for Direct Line Life Insurance in the UK found that more Brits are drinking more during lockdown. An estimated 250,000 have their first sip of drink before midday,
Oh, jeez.
with the average drinker having 12.6 more daytime units a week, which 12 units equates to about 6 pints of low-strength beer.
Wow.
Yeah, the UK system's weird because it's alcohol
That's
units.
about right.
I've been starting at like 12:30, right when the kids are done with school. Yeah, we go outside and they ride bikes, and I stand in the middle of our street court thing with a beer in my hand, and usually my next door neighbor comes out, and she and I have a beer and talk while the kids ride bikes.
I've definitely thought about it. I think the earliest I've gone on a work day was like 4. But I definitely at like 12 when I come down to get lunch, I'm like, beer?
Yeah, for sure.
But I have been drinking more.
Anyway, this is this lady. She's like some, I don't know, older white British woman who's trying to still be hot on Instagram.
She looks insane.
She looks insane. She says, before lockdown, I would only have a glass of wine in the evening during the week, but that's all changed. Now I have a Bucks Fizz for my breakfast. I don't know what that is.
I don't either.
Sip on a chilled vodka with orange at lunch. So she's just drinking straight vodka. And then go for beer and cocktails in the evening. Why not? It's not like there's anything else to do.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
A Bucks Fizz is 2 parts champagne, 1 part orange juice. Very similar to a mimosa.
Wow.
No, it's just a good mimosa.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds amazing.
That's just how a mimosa should be made.
Let's say she says that they were going to go on vacation for summer break, but now that coronavirus hit, the entertainment sector has been shut down. Her husband is a musician, so she says we had to cancel our summer break, so we decided to treat lockdown as one big holiday. And everyone knows you booze as soon as you get up when you're in Spain.
She looks like Carol Baskin, but like
Yeah, what's her handle? I want to stalk her.
Let's see if I can find it. Whenever friends FaceTime me, even during the day, they'd all have a cocktail, wine or beer in their hands. Some even rang at 10 a.m. with a Bloody Mary in their hands, and they encouraged us to join in the fun. Oh, so she got peer pressured. That's cool.
I like that she's just like decided that the UK drinks early when she is doing the one doing it.
Yeah, and she has those little like small bottles of champagne with a straw in it.
She is not very cute.
Well, you know, what are you gonna do, man?
What is her name? Jewel?
Jewel, Juel. 11 a.m. Prosecco Bucks Fizz. 1 p.m. vodka and orange with an ice cube. 3 p.m. chilled lager in a frozen glass.
Jesus.
6 p.m. my cocktail of the day. 8 p.m. wine with dinner. 10 p.m. brandy and Coke before bed. What kind of Coke?
Wow.
Yeah.
So apparently she's just like partying all
That's
the
a
time.
lot of drinking.
She
Yeah,
must
for
be
sure, dude.
drunk all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, one hundo.
Jeez.
Her name, I can't find her like Instagram
You
hand.
could Google her.
Girl Got Style, I think is what is GURLGOTSTYLE.
Sounds like something. Oh, jeez. Never mind. I don't even know.
Girl Got Style.
She does look like
Yeah.
Carol Baskin to me.
Yeah, sort
Jewel
of maybe.
Stokes, it looked like.
Yeah, you guys go check that out.
Wow.
What is this? Oh yeah, that's what I meant to. Well, see now the point is over, so I'm not gonna read that story. What do you got, Bev?
She's
Well, I found Girl Got Style,
Is that not
but it
her?
doesn't say anything about her name being Jewel, but it does look like a woman that could pass for a hideous Carol Baskin.
Let me see.
hold it up.
But also, if
So,
it's not her, I'm going to
Carol
feel bad.
Yeah, that's all right.
Eh,
She's not
whatever.
watching. What if she was like a huge fan? Yeah, that's her.
Yeah,
dude.
that's her.
Okay.
Bro,
Jewel.
hold on. I don't mean to clown people, but what?
Who is that?
Yeah, what is
That's
that?
her.
Oh.
That's your girl.
That's your
Girl,
girl.
What's up, girl?
GURL. Is it the picture of the Popeyes chicken that she posted?
Nah, because I liked that one.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Poppies, not Popeyes.
Poppies?
Poppy?
Like
Oh, and it's not chicken, it's fish and
PAP?
chips.
Oh,
Oh, fish and chips are so
that makes more
good.
sense.
Were you about to say fish and chips are so much better than fried chicken?
No, but fish and chips are good.
No, I was not going to say that at all.
Okay.
See,
Okay.
well, so
Found out.
here's the thing about that. The worst fried chicken is better than the best fish and chips.
No.
Amen.
Yeah,
Disagree
Amen.
with that.
100%.
Disagree.
No, you're both
The
wrong.
best the best fish
Uh-oh.
and chips are delicious. No, why are we even comparing them? They're totally different things.
It's apples and oranges.
Yeah, they don't
the
need to be
best
compared.
fried chicken
No,
is from Long John Silver because it still kind of tastes like fish, and vice versa.
You remember when they
Hella
had the
gross.
basket of stuff
Jesus.
from Long John Silver? It was just all the crumblies and everything.
That's like Jason's dream come true.
I love crunchy shit, man. Anytime you cook anything, like
Crumblies from them. That place is so good though.
like you put anything with cheese in a frying pan and you pull the thing off, like sometimes Taryn will make chicken breast and you put some cheese on top of it and the cheese falls off and it sticks on the pan. If she doesn't scrape that shit up and feed it to me, I scream.
Literally feed it
Yeah.
to him.
It's so good.
The Crispies are the best for everything. The little Crispies at the end of fries, like
Grilled cheese sandwiches
Oh,
when they
yeah.
bleed over a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah,
they
yeah,
don't
yeah,
cook.
yeah, yeah.
But
All
where
that.
do we stand on Popeyes versus KFC?
KFC's
Popeyes is
trash.
way
Popeyes.
better.
Yeah,
Thank
for
you.
sure.
Okay.
And it's
All
not even the
KFC's
flavor. I
trash.
think it's just the quality of the crunchies. They're good.
So
It's yeah.
Popeyes is better than KFC, but Church's chicken, if you ever find a Church's
That's-
chicken, that blows Popeye out of the water.
Really? Do we have that?
We got one in Richmond.
Really? And how
Yeah,
are
I was
how are
gonna
their
say
biscuits?
I don't know. Not
Ah,
here,
yeah,
man.
you got that.
So
Yeah.
Taryn,
Yeah.
crispy, crunchy chicken.
Mm.
Literally gas station chicken. It's it's these little like gas station pop-up shops that sell chicken. It's called Crispy Crunchy Chicken. They have the best biscuits I've ever had in my life.
Where?
Really?
And
Where is
chicken.
Better than
Yeah,
Popeyes?
Their sides are good too.
so
Where is
good.
this? Where
'Cause
is
you don't
this?
like
Where is
biscuits,
this? Where is
right?
this?
I like
gas
those
station near
biscuits.
you.
At a gas station near you, Google it.
So I have a bunch of friends that live in like Tennessee, right? And Tennessee, and they have apparently down there they have a plethora of gas station like foods like this that we don't have. Like you go to like Chevron and you can get taquitos or mummified hot dogs.
Yeah.
But anyway, so my friend's like, dude, the best fried chicken is this place over, and I don't know where the fuck they're talking about. But I'm like, how do you have fried chicken
Crispy
that's
Crunchy Chicken.
good at a gas station?
Well, and you
they
know-
have like fat burritos at gas stations. Like
Mhm.
it's like a space set up in there by another thing, right? They have gyros, like big fat greasy gyros and shit at these gas. I'm like, I gotta move to Tennessee, man.
Dude,
Come
or
on.
Japan. Japan is the same. They're literally they're called 7-Elevens. They are 7-Elevens, but they have like legit Japanese and Chinese food. Like you get giant bows that are better than any bow that we can get here. Like you walk in, it kind of smells like that, and you're like, I don't know about this, but like it's legit
know, man.
food. It makes me very jealous. So I'm gonna have to find these biscuits because that's. But I'm a little embarrassed buying food at a gas station.
So
Is it
same.
just me?
I feel bad
Yeah.
about it. Sam bought it a couple times and I was like, oh, that's gas station chicken. And then I had it and I was like, oh, can we get gas station chicken?
Yeah, you need to get over that because it is delicious.
Really?
So good.
And
yeah.
what's it
Hey,
called?
my DoorDash.
Crispy crunchy.
Crispy crunchy chicken. Okay.
Crispy crunchy. Okay,
Spelled with a K.
of course. Why wouldn't it? I wonder if we
Crispy
could like, yeah, I wonder if
crunchy
maybe they do Instacart or Task Rabbit or something, man. I don't know.
Postmates.
But they do spell chicken with a C. So it is KKC.
That's good.
Make sure everyone's on
Oh,
the same
okay.
page.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, it is. Not
Crispy fucking chicken.
crispy.
That would just be KFC.
Damn.
Let's see here. Come get the fuck out of here, Reuters. No one cares. Florida is offering drive-through Botox to quarantined residents.
Of course. Because
Of course they are.
Florida.
And I thought Florida wasn't quarantined anymore.
Yeah, they don't care about anything.
Well, on May 4th, the U.S. state allowed a partial relaxing of restrictions imposed to slow the coronavirus pandemic. That means certain elective medical procedures could resume, including Botox injections and cosmetic surgery. So this is from June 4th, so it's relatively recent.
Can I get drive-through lipo?
Don't they have that at like the car wash place? You drive in, you wash your car, you pull
God,
forward.
if they did, sign me up.
Oh man.
That'd be great.
Gross.
Have you guys ever seen those videos on America's Funniest Videos where like the person walks in or goes into the car wash and like their door falls off?
Oh,
Like,
that's the best.
They
dude.
open their door to do something, but then like the car's on the track thing already, and it like breaks their door.
Yeah, we literally watched. So we're like I said, we're 85 years old and we watch America's Funniest Videos. But there's a guy like in his car, like Terrence saying, in the track, and like the brushes come by, like from the
yeah,
front of
that's
the
right.
car to the back. They come by, and he like opens his door to look. Oh, there was something on his windshield, on like
Oh.
like a flyer stuck on his windshield wiper, and he literally opens the door, tries to pull the thing out. Then sees the thing coming, the brush coming back, and he barely gets back in the car before it just takes his door.
The whole door
Takes
his
just
door right off.
rolls right off.
So
And for
soap
some
is getting in
reason-
there. And imagine he's getting slapped in the face by the fucking brushes, man. He's getting beaten to death.
And whoever is the passenger is literally just videoing the whole thing, which is the kind of the best part.
It's very good.
Anyway, I don't even know how that came up.
Yeah. Chat, what should we talk about? Come on, let's hang out. Okay. Yeah, Florida Botox.
Yes.
Michael Salzhauer, a plastic surgeon known as Dr. Miami, who has also starred in a reality television show,
Yeah.
has been conducting drive-through Botox injections in the garage of his building in the posh Miami neighborhood of Ball Harbor. Salzhauer said the idea struck him as he was sitting in his car waiting for a blood test for COVID-19 antibodies, which is the most casual dropping of, I don't know, it's just very weird to read. The areas that we inject Botox are in the upper face, exactly the parts of the face that aren't covered by the mask. So it's really ideal, Salzauer said, while wearing a
ideal.
mask, face shield, and surgical gown as he waited for his next drive-up patient. Guess how much it is for a stippling of shots across your forehead for this?
I have no idea. $200.
$300.
I think it's more than that because I think you have to pay for the whole vial. Like, I don't think they can use the same vial of Botox on
I kind of hope
different
not.
people. I don't know, but I think it's like $900.
He's charging $6.
Oh.
Okay.
An average of $6, and I wonder if it's because there's no overhead. You're in your garage.
Right.
You're in
Yeah.
your garage pounding people in the head with a needle.
Yeah, that's weird.
And apparently, Florida's tattoo artists are like kind of pissed off about it, because like, why can't we open? But this guy can
Bro.
inject people in the forehead with Botox.
Well, I feel like Botox
There's so
is
many
a lot
tattoo artists
faster.
open right now.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I was actually like working on one and getting one before all this happened. I sort of was like, oh, maybe I could. I'm like, nope, can't do it. Can't do it. Got to stay home.
I have a question for everyone here.
All right.
Are you guys missing Disneyland?
God, we talked about that once. I sort of am, but not really. Oh, should we? Well, yeah.
I really am, but like it's a different kind of miss than like if I just wasn't going. Like it's like I miss the fact that it's not there. Like it makes me
Right.
sad. It's weird.
What are you, Jeremy?
Kind of.
Well,
I could
So-
always be happy because I knew somewhere Small World was playing. Vomitization, Jeremy. God bless.
there's a well, I don't know if I can say. I've been listening to a radio station lately that plays nothing but the I mean, whenever I'm not listening to Spectro Radio, which is
SpectroRadio.us.
Right.
yes, which is fantastic. But this radio station plays nothing but area music from the Disneyland Resort, and I've put it on shuffle, and there's times where I'm just in the other room and I hear it, and I'm like, oh my goodness! Like I feel like all of a sudden, if I walk around the corner to where the music's coming from, I'm going to be in the Emporium or I'm going to be in Adventureland. I love that, and we're thinking that we might go in November.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's usually when we go because we would go for Jason's birthday usually. Actually,
Okay.
Yeah.
according to my Instagram, we were there a year ago, like earlier this week.
Hmm.
Yep. I feel like I don't know about you guys, it's probably very similar, but like when Facebook and Instagram does memories, they're always Disneyland, and I'm
Yep.
like, holy
Yeah.
fuck, how often do
Yeah.
I go there?
I know, right?
Jesus. Like, oh, we were there again. Oh, we were there again.
Dan Shaw in the chat, who I don't even know who that is, says he agrees with you, Taryn. It's weird not to have the choice to go.
Maybe that's what it is. It's like I wouldn't be there now, but the fact that I can't is kind of like, oh.
Yeah, and Kristen and Terrence are chatting in the thing, but basically, I think we talked about it on, I think it was the last Ears Up show when we were doing news about when we think. I don't think it's going to open till August. I'm gonna one up you, Terrence.
Ooh.
Because Terrence, you're saying open mid-July, but Disney World is opening mid-July, and they've already announced that. So I can't imagine Disneyland's going to be opening at the same time.
The thing with California is that they rapidly ramped up from phase 2 to phase 3. You know, no one thought we'd be in phase 3 until late summer.
Yeah, but I
True.
think Disney's a little bit different. Although I do know that they are calling some people back to
Yeah,
work at
that's true.
Disney. But you know, it's basically all the things that I stated on the last show. It's all the training and stuff that has to happen, all the maintenance updates and all the
Mhm.
ride through, spin all the rides up, all that kind of stuff. Restocking all the food. All
Well,
that kind of
this-
shit,
this
like
is-
I can't imagine cleaning all the dust off the shops, like all that kind of shit. I can't imagine they're going to be open in a month. I just
Yeah.
can't imagine that. I'm thinking August, like first part of August.
Well, this is all also in July or August is assuming that there's not a second spike
Yeah.
because that happens and
Well, and then from the protests, there are cities, and even before the protests, but there are cities that are showing more signs now.
but like what a trip. Disneyland has been closed for over a month. Like it's
I think
never
longer
been
than that, right?
I think
It's been longer
I
than
think
that,
it's
yeah.
almost 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it had been closed 3 days prior to that. Like
Yeah.
that is like we're in such a weird place in history right
This
now.
timeline sucks,
it is
dude. I'm
bizarre.
fucking telling you, it's just shitty.
Like it does suck. I hate all of it. I hate quarantine. I hate social injustice. I hate all of this stuff. But at the same time, there is something very fascinating about feeling like you're in a history book right now. I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
where it's going.
Yeah.
I'm feeling optimistic that it's going somewhere good, but like it is a trip that like we're living history right now.
Yeah, I mean, people in the chat are
Well-
making a good point about Disneyland smaller, but I don't know. I don't think that they would announce 2 weeks before they open. I don't know.
I think they could. I think they could be training people now.
Or a
without-
month.
Like my people are going back to work, and we're not. It's not like we're announcing it.
Yeah, but you're also not training. Like they haven't been off for 2 months, and then now they have to go back through like different training. I don't know. I'm sticking by it. I'm gonna say I'm on the record. Terrence is wrong.
Terrence
on.
is always
So-
wrong though.
I'm on record.
So next weekend, Taryn, on June 14th, it'll be 3 months since the park closed.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was gonna
Yeah,
be
Wow.
March
Yeah.
14th.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, it is.
It's weird, man. God, they're losing so much money.
Yeah.
It's nutty.
And they're not going to lower prices to gain that money either. And that's the
They don't
weirdest
need
part.
to.
They don't need to.
They
don't need to.
definitely don't need to. I wouldn't be surprised if they
Yeah.
increase prices
Yeah.
to some degree. I really wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if they're gonna see the same passion about Disneyland. This sounds weird, but I'm just forming this thought of like, once you have no choice to go for 3 months or maybe 4, do you really care? Like, are more people realizing that they don't need to go to Disneyland as often because everything will still be fine if they don't do that and they can go out and do other stuff?
Well,
No.
I think what
I
you're
doubt
getting at,
it.
I think it's going to affect annual passes.
Well, I personally think they're gonna either tweak or get rid of. Remember that annual pass that I feel like they created to save themselves from themselves, the reservation pass?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
now
Pass?
everybody has to get a reservation. So what's the benefit? Why would I pay for the deluxe pass when I have to do the same thing as the cheaper pass?
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think it's going to change their pass system, and I think I agree with you. I think they're going to raise prices on everything, which is crazy because that's all we were talking about is how insanely high they are.
Right.
But I do think beer is going to be $14, not $12. But I'm predicting that annual pass prices are going to go down because I think there's going to be a major decline. Because I think people are going to, when we come out of this, I think people are going to be concerned about, until there's a vaccine, I think people are not going to feel comfortable getting another pass yet, as many people. And so, and with that mentality where it's like, oh, well, do we really need to go to Disneyland? I think
Right.
it's making people stop and think. And so I think that they're going to lower the prices of annual passes. That's my guess.
That's a good guess, Taryn.
Thanks.
Yeah, I disagree with it, but it's a good guess.
Shocking.
Yeah, well, you know how it goes. I don't know, man. I mean, I know it'll be busy. But I feel like it's not going to be. It'd be interesting to see when peak crowds hit again.
Yeah, I'm like concerned that we're not going to
October.
go for like 2 years.
It can't be October.
October?
No, because I mean, they're gonna open to limited capacity.
Yeah,
right?
it'll be a different
no.
peak because they won't be allowed to get to full capacity.
And here's the thing. All right. I don't know. You guys have been out. I don't know if you guys have been wearing a mask. I wear a mask even to just go get the mail, which is, I don't know, 50 feet away. It's around the corner. It's not out in front of our house, so I'm not like actually that crazy. But Alice and I both put on our masks today to go get the mail, and that shit is hot. I went to my office on last Saturday, put on a mask the whole time, even though there was no one there, just to be safe, and probably crazy. But I was there for about an hour and had the mask on, and man, that shit sucked. I had to take it off every once in a while because it was so hot. Can you fucking imagine going to Disneyland for an entire day and having to wear a mask? Like, as much as I'm all for wearing masks, and I would definitely judge somebody not wearing a mask, it's like that shit is not happening. I cannot go until I don't have to wear a mask. Like, no.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
Like,
I wear a mask anytime I go out, but I would not be able to walk around a 85, 90-degree Disneyland with a mask on. That'd be horrible.
I wear a mask anytime I go out and I'm around other people. Like, I don't wear it in my car,
No,
No,
or
right, right.
or if
You
I'm
don't
out
need
for
to
a
wear it in your
walk.
car,
Like,
yeah.
I have my mask with me, but I don't have it on.
I mean, we have it on mainly in case we pass people because we are, there's a lot of people out and about. But it's also good practice, to deal with it. And it's not as bad. But I would wear a mask at Disneyland. I would prefer not to, but I would definitely do it because I would have the coolest looking mask. I mean, that's
would
the
not.
best. I mean, you know what masks are going to look like at Disneyland, like because there are theories that this is never going to go away. I mean, clearly the theory that heat is going to kill the coronavirus is
No,
is irrelevant.
it was
because
500 degrees here last week.
Right.
So
It's like spiking in Arizona. It was like 105. So it definitely heat is not one of the things.
No.
But mask at Disneyland, everyone's going to have pins on them. That's going to be the new pin trading lanyard. Instead of a lanyard, it's the mask.
it's just gonna
That's
be
my
I
thought.
think you're
Yeah,
wrong.
no,
but
I
I,
think I'm
do
right.
think that Disneyland will start selling Disney-themed masks.
Oh, they already have been. You can order them right now.
Oh.
But like, it's going to have a clear pouch for your
So
annual
disappointing.
pass, for your clear pouch for your credit card. It's going to be a whole thing.
It's the new fanny pack.
It might be the new Coviers, dude. Let's start making masks with clear pouches for your lanyard and your annual pass. We'll make $4.
Gotta go.
I legit meant to talk to you about that, about
Oh
doing a
my
cover
God.
face mask the other day, but not all of that stuff, but like customized Disneyland face masks. That'd be dope.
It would, and you know what? Honestly, it's something that we could do, and
Oh,
it's all over
easily.
Etsy because the problem with using pre-made Disney themed fabric is that for the Coviers it had to be a specific blend, which is more like spandex lycra than cotton, and it was like a spandex polyester blend is what it had to be. And there's not a whole lot of fabric like that, but there's a ton of cotton fabric, so you could definitely do something like that. Yeah, but fuck it, who cares? Who cares anymore?
I do miss Disneyland. I think I miss it too because I don't think we're gonna go for a very long time, and so I'm kind of like, oh man, it's gonna be a while.
When we go, it'll be. It feels like the first time.
Yes, yes, please,
Jeez.
yes, please.
I just had to hold this inhaler in before I made fun of him. Never again.
Yes, please. I don't know, alcohol. Anyway, how's Becca and the corona?
She's hold on for a second.
Oh, we're gonna get a Becca update.
It's rough.
I bet.
Yeah, it's rough. She's having a little bit of a breakdown and a hard time right now.
Really? Because
The way that
of
she
the
described
virus?
it as PTSD.
Really?
Just everything she's seeing, and she's had a couple of patients and stuff and things that, yeah. So it's bad. And
Really?
we're talking about how hot it is to have the mask on walking around. She's in full PPE,
I know.
head to toe, in the COVID tent.
In the tent outside with no air conditioning,
Yeah, it's
also
pretty
known
bad.
as the sweat box.
Does she work? How many days a week does she have to work?
Just 3 a week.
Okay, well but she's working long days, right? Like,
No, she's not working 12. She's working 8.
oh, that's good at least.
Yeah.
But I mean, it doesn't even matter. 8 and 12, like what? Honestly, at that point, wearing a mask and all that shit in the sun under a tent, like,
Yeah.
what's the difference? You might
Yeah,
as well
it's
be
rough.
there like
It's rough.
for
I feel-
36 hours.
I feel bad. And then she gets home and she has to, strip down in the garage, throw the stuff right immediately into the washer, and then run inside and run right to the shower and, wash everything off. And so it's rough. Like if she gets home and the kids are still awake, like they all want to see her. And she's like, well, I can't touch you right now. Let me go shower. It's just rough. It really is
Yeah.
rough.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely relate. For example, I was I was making wanted to make my own barbecue sauce the other day, and it
Very
called for this
relatable.
ingredient,
Right.
tamarind paste, right? But Taryn said you can't get it. It's not like on like Instagram or not Instacart or whatever. It was something we had to order from Amazon, but I needed it that day, and so I felt
Yeah.
it was tough, man. It was tough.
It's the same thing.
Totally
Same
the
thing.
same.
It's
Yeah, we
very
both-
relatable.
It really is, man. You know what? I resent the fact that you guys are discrediting my feelings
I
right
can't
now.
tell if you're being serious. And that makes me concerned.
Bev, I've never joked in my entire life. I've never said anything remotely unserious before. My entire life.
You've been
You know,
so serious this whole show. I was like, if this fool is going off on some tamarind spread or whatever,
It was
paste,
paste. Also,
jelly.
I had another thought. How cool would it be if Dustin Hoffman was the Joker? So you did
Who the fuck is Dustin Hoffman
Rain Man?
as the Joker?
Yeah, like a Rain Man Joker would be amazing.
Why did you
What?
have that
I
thought?
don't know.
Wait, who are
What
you?
is happening
Did you
in
go
your
call
brain?
Sam?
Yeah, Sam. I have an earpiece and Sam is in my ear.
Seriously, like what the fuck?
Definitely want to know how I got these scars. Here's a good news article. Harvard is going to be 100% online in the fall term of 2020. 100% online, right?
Wow.
Can you just talk about? I'm sorry, like I know there's lots of other struggles out there. I'm sorry. I just want to say one little thing. That I just want to shout out to all of the 2020 seniors. I think that your life sucks right now.
I'd like to do a quick shout out as well. Shout out to all of the
No, I
parents
wasn't
that.
in the middle
No,
of
no,
anything.
no.
It's
I don't
fine.
care. I'm shouting it out. Shout out to all the parents who became principals
See
for
what you
their
started?
kids who were homeschooled out of nowhere.
Amen.
So
Mm.
struggle is
the
over.
Fall term of 2020 for Harvard, it will be online, but their tuition will be 100% still. They will not cut back the tuition for Harvard Law
Wow.
School. It will still be $68,000.
Damn.
Thought I'd
That
share
I
that
was
with
that
you
was going to be my first question. Like, is it free now?
Jeez. No,
Or
that's
is it
pre-
like
that's
community
pretty fucked
college
up.
costs? Like,
I mean,
what?
I guess you still have to. There's still overhead. I mean, they still have all the buildings, but
but
excuse
no
me.
one's in them.
I don't
And
know.
also, they've had them forever. They're
I know,
paid
right?
off.
Oh,
Yeah,
for
you.
sure,
They
dude.
don't need janitorial services. They don't. They don't. The
They need a
teacher-
gardener, sure.
Sure, the teachers don't have to be there. They have to pay the teachers. That's probably the biggest cost. I don't know. That's nuts right there.
Look, I almost did it.
Good job, Bev. It's not your enormous like size of your body bottle, but
Yes,
it
it
is.
is.
It is. Oh, it looks smaller.
Oh,
It's a gallon.
see, Eric's
That's what
with
she
me,
said.
Terrence, and maybe you can get behind this now. Instead of like a pouch for your
Oh,
for
Jesus.
your mask, because Mark makes a good point. Can you breathe through an annual pass? Barely, I think, but you probably could. Eric's is cargo
Oh,
masks.
jeez.
So side
Mhm.
pouches.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
Let's make this happen.
It's
Yeah.
literally the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my whole entire life.
Well, if you don't-
are all dumb.
So they'll be right by like your mutton chops if you had mutton chops, so maybe they're cargo chops.
Oh my god.
It's getting worse.
So instead of just the front part of your
really-
face sweating, your entire head is sweating at this point.
Yeah, or maybe like fanny jowls, where so
Oh
you have
my
the pouches
God.
like underneath.
He actually has Sam in his ear, I
Yeah.
think. What is happening?
I think it could be great. I think it'd be really good.
I hate this so much.
Look, man, you know what? There's no reason that fashion can't be practical.
Yes, there is.
Oh yeah, that's right. You know, if I wish this whole lockdown thing wasn't happening during the summer, because I'm really jonesing to buy several velour tracksuits online.
Velour?
Yeah.
Buy them now. You'll get them at a good price.
That's true.
Save them.
All the outlets are online right now.
Well, no, I'm talking like cheap ones from Amazon for like $50. Like, yeah,
$50 is cheap?
I think it'd be fun. Yeah, for a tracksuit.
Yeah, right?
For velour.
Velour. Yeah, I don't think that's cheap. Does it say
Also-
does it say juicy?
I wish.
Just say, I wish. Oh my gosh. If you
Fuck.
buy a velour tracksuit, it has to say juicy across your butt.
Bro, I'll
That's
get
amazing.
a Sharpie. I don't even care.
It's flat.
Yeah. Instead of juicy, it'll say chunky.
God. Horrible.
Here's a story that maybe you guys have seen, and maybe you haven't. This is from Spain, and you'll figure out why. Of course it is soon. A porn star has been arrested on manslaughter charges following a man's death during a mystic ritual in which he inhaled psychedelic toad venom.
What?
Hell yeah.
It sounds like a Rick and Morty episode, but it's really
it really does.
First of all, the man's name is Nacho Vidal.
No, it's not.
I'm sorry. Are you Mr. Vidal? I am Nacho Vidal. Oh, excuse me. I apologize. I was looking for Mr. Vidal.
Nacho Vidal.
I mean, that joke writes itself.
Yeah.
He was detained last week in the southeastern Valencia region in connection with the death of a man in July 2019. Media identified the victim as fashion photographer Jose Luis Abad. The police operation began following the victim's death during the celebration of a mystic ritual based on the inhalation of venom of the Bufo alarius toad, a police statement said. The toad is a rare species in which is native to the Sonoran Desert, stretching from North Mexico into California and Arizona. Secretes venom containing a very powerful natural psychedelic substance known as 5-MeO-DMT. Jesus Christ. This toad's out here making DMT, man.
I don't know what DMT is.
Me either.
Its
Sounds
effects have been compared to ayahuasca, a powerful hallucinogenic concoction from the Amazon. Following,
that.
I know it's ayahuasca is crazy, dude. Have you ever seen videos of people taking ayahuasca? It's like
awesome. No, but I'm impressed that you said the word so nicely.
ayahuasca, baby. Let's go.
That's a weird spelled word.
Well, I'm very good at talking about it. the saying the word, if choosing the talk words, I'm good at that.
He's already researched this drug, Taryn.
He's done it 5 times.
I saw a whole documentary on it, dude. It's crazy. Investigators said they had discovered such rituals being carried. Anyway, whatever. It happened. Local press said the ceremony took place in the country residence of Vidal, a media-savvy porn star in his mid-40s, whatever that means, whose Twitter feed is full of ads for his 25-centimeter aromatic candles of the male genitalia. So he sells penis-shaped candles, and then also makes weird people inhale venom from a frog that you can get in California.
That's amazing.
What a fucking life, dude.
That's
Porn star.
I'm moving to Spain.
Isn't 25 centimeters only like
I don't.
2 inch?
I wouldn't.
It's
I wouldn't
almost,
know.
It's almost 10 inches.
Oh,
I just
those
looked
are
it
big candles.
Yes, those are huge candles.
Yeah, I don't know. They're about average, I guess. I mean, what do I know?
Oh, God.
What a salmon I have.
You're talking about fishing, going salmon. Let's check in with the chat room.
Brittany's here.
Brittany, you're fired. Go
Brittany
away.
showed up, finally.
Yeah.
Brittany has been literally on all the emails, but she missed the what did she say?
Well, she has more important things to do.
I mean,
missed the
she
stream.
Missed the stream.
She is young and cool, so
Well, she's young. Actually, I don't even know how young she is. She's not even cool anymore. She's who she is.
she's pretty cool.
You're so beautiful.
Trying to look for more news. Chat room, give me a topic. Let's talk about it, man. I sort of missed other talking points I wanted to mention during the opening of the show, but I'm not going to go back and talk about them.
Oh,
No.
that moment passed. Now we're on to Corona.
Apparently now we're on to penis candles and DMT.
Yeah, I
generating
kind of want to look
frogs.
them up on his Instagram.
That's true.
That's a
Terrence, your
That's
kid had a
incre-
birthday this week. Yeah?
yeah. My oldest turned 9.
Wow. How old are you?
Older than 9.
Yeah.
40.
You have a 9-year-old.
A 9-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 5-year-old.
God, I forget I'm older than you.
Do you ever think
Yes,
about that
you
and you
are.
go damn, I'm raising children.
Yes.
I'll catch myself in the mirror and go oh fuck, I'm her mom. I have to be her mom.
Yeah, we're starting to put away for therapy already. So I know we're messing them up.
Not college therapy. That's actually
Yeah.
smart.
Yeah,
That's-
for
better
sure.
investment.
That's what we should be doing.
But no, I mean it's weird. It's weird, but it's cool to see the interaction between them, and sometimes it's great. Sometimes I want them to not be around, but it is what it is.
Well, see, and I appreciate that because it's funny because like sometimes I'm like, gosh, maybe we should have another one. And then like in the same breath, I'm like, God, I don't even know if I want the one. So why would I think about having another one? Like, and it's literally in the same thought, and there's no right answer. Because obviously, like,
There's a right answer.
you already have the one, so you can't change that.
There's nothing to stop anybody from moving to Spain and starting a candle hobby. You know what I mean?
I'm pretty sure that retroactive abortion is not. It's not something that's acceptable.
That shit's not legal. I've looked.
I need a 48 trimester.
Right?
Yeah, bro, being a parent is weird. It's weird, and and I've said it before. It's just as much about. It's more about you and how you handle shit than how your kid handles shit. And
oh, for sure, they're resilient as shit.
Yeah, and it's really weird about realizing how much crap you hang on to when your kid goes from like being super annoying to instantly super sweet and forget about the reason she was being annoying. And it's like, oh, and then you have to ground yourself and go, wait, that literal part of her logic brain does not exist. It's not even there right now. So of course this doesn't mean anything. And it's humbling in a lot of ways in that regard.
Yeah, Alice is in a stage right now where she's very, very cute, but she's still kind of learning to talk. So she also whines a lot because it's not her actually whining; it's just her communicating, but in a whiny voice, and so it's very annoying at times. And
that doesn't go away.
Yeah.
Well, actually, all on her own. Alice is taken to taping her own mouth shut.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah.
I know, right? We are parents of the year.
Yes.
I feel like.
Absolutely. High five.
That was too much affection.
I
apologize for showing so much affection.
I brought my office home, and there's tape. And so now Alice every
just Scotch tape, right?
It's just Scotch tape. Alice every day comes, tape? And I give her a piece of tape, and she puts it on her mouth. And I go, that is exactly.
She didn't see it anywhere. No one taught her that. It's not in any weird movies we watch.
No,
She's
just
never
never seen
anything.
it. It was just an instinctual thing. That's what you do with tape, and I have not taught her any different. It's perfect.
I'm working on the Gorilla Glue duct tape, like that shit that a teenager in Japan who worked as a street tout. I don't know what a street tout is. Recruiting women into Japan's sex industry made a career-ending blunder when he approached an attractive woman in Fukuoka's Haruka district. This goes back to my Japanese fetish. Fukuoka.
Fukuoka.
Fukuoka. Fuck your. You ran into my car. Fuck your car.
I don't think
it was an undercover police officer. This person was 17 years old and said there are women who are short of cash at the moment because of the coronavirus crisis. So I figured I would do her a favor and offer her work in the sex industry or in adult videos. Whatever, dude. Apparently this person, their job is to go through the city, look for women who are cute, and say, do you want to, work in
fuck
these?
You car?
Yeah, fuck you car.
Wow.
That's crazy to me. But you know what? Hey, man, everyone needs a job.
Okay. Ay. Japan. I really want to go back there someday. I don't think I ever will, but I really want to. It's a really cool place. But I was 18 now, so I don't remember anything. I was just looking for boys.
Boys in Japan?
Specifically, the Jackass guys. They were there literally the same time as me.
Oh, my gosh.
What?
Yeah, they were. And so, and I was 18, and you can go to bars at 18, so I was in bars, and we were literally tracking the Jackass guys. Like Steve-O, we would just ask each bartender, like, where'd they go next? And then we'd go there.
Oh, my God. I'm sure that they loved talking to you.
I don't think that they cared.
Uh-huh.
Whatever. We never found them.
Niagara Falls, New York. The Niagara County Health Department is searching for 2 baby raccoons after officials say a Niagara Falls resident was handing them out to people outside of 7-Eleven over the weekend.
What?
Handing out raccoons?
Baby raccoons, yeah. So there you go.
That's
There's
So
that.
awesome.
so you can get chicken and raccoons and biscuits.
Apparently.
Lovely.
I don't know. I think that's about it, huh?
Probably. Wow.
Yeah.
Raccoons? No.
Raccoons,
Yeah,
man.
that last one broke me. I'm done.
Handing out baby raccoons, man.
Wow.
That's insane.
Just hitting the chat real fast before we get out of here.
Well, and again, I know we've already talked about it, but I'm really glad that we had that conversation at the beginning, and I'm really glad that everybody was okay with talking about it and being vulnerable and telling stories and being emotional, because that's not what we do here, right? We're the happy-go-lucky podcast. We talk about Disneyland and Disney history and all this bullshit, and it was nice to have a real conversation when real things are going on. So I really honestly appreciate it.
Yeah, me too, man. And it's so weird to like see people unfollow you. You know, I mean, just back to that for a second. Like, I've lost like 10 people on my personal like Instagram account, which I don't really care too much about, but sort of do. And then 4 or 5 people on Years Up, and it's just like over. Like on my personal, I've literally made 2 posts out of the. Well, here I'm going to check. I'm going to check right now because this is just weird to me. Humans are weird. Out of the 1,404 posts I've made, 2 of them were about the current, current events and what's going on and my stance on them, and people can't take that. It's so fucking weird.
But that's
man.
the thing. Like, if somebody else posted something like the opposite, you wouldn't unfollow them. So
No.
that's their weird insecurities.
I know, and that's why I think it's more important than ever. If you feel uncomfortable, that means you should talk about it.
Yeah.
Talk about it. Learn a thing or two.
I agree.
All
I
right.
agree.
Should we get out of here?
Yeah, let's get out of here.
All right. Thanks everybody for listening. Thanks everybody in the chat room for participating. I appreciate you very much. I think Jeremy and I are going to try to do. Jeremy's off in the Hamptons.
Oh, he's in the Hamptons.
Riding
That's why
horses.
he's not here tonight.
The horses Snoopy and Snuggles or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to do an Ears Up in depth next week. That'll probably be live depending on his internet connection. I don't know. And then I don't know when we're doing a next recording.
I don't
Is
know
that next
either.
week?
Our regular?
Yeah.
I forget. Sorry.
That's all right.
Probably next week. Yeah.
Okay.
It must be.
Well, watch for social. Next time we do a Quarantiki room, I'll definitely be a lot better at advertising, and I just did it today. Like I said, there's been a lot going on, and so I apologize about that. But anyway, stay safe, everybody, and I don't know what to say. But I do like this theme song.